You're listening to the Hella Well with Danielle show, a podcast taking women of color on a journey exploring all things wellness and travel related. We're all about showing you how to put on your oxygen mask first and creating lasting self-care habits that will free you to travel the world and live the life you truly desire, and not one you have to fake loving. I'm your host, Danielle Washington. Now let's buckle up and start this journey. Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of the Hella Well with Danielle podcast. I am your host, Danielle Washington, and this podcast episode right here is about to change your life. And I say it's going to change your life because it's changed my life. When I discovered human design, it was like mind-blowing information. And I still can't fully describe it, which is why I brought on two amazing guests to help me really kind of give you guys a human design 101, because there's so much information that we couldn't do it all in one podcast. And this podcast episode is a little bit longer than normal, but there's just so much a wealth of information. But before we even start, what is human design? Human design is the way I can describe it is like a more accurate cosmic Myers-Briggs that uses astrology and all these different other things. But it helps you discover what makes you different. And it offers you insights on your psychology, strategies and methods on how to make correct decisions. Game changer. And what brings you fulfillment. So it's not based in any religion, whatever like that, but I just wanted you guys to really be able to know about the system so you can use it to thrive. It will help you with your business, will help you with parenting, will help in your relationships. It literally, once you dive in, and I will tell you, it's a rabbit hole, but this is an amazing rabbit hole that will change your life. So I brought on today Sharon Kershner, who is an amazing, gifted spiritual person. She is, human design enthusiast. It's been doing this for a while. She's on Clubhouse. She does human design on Clubhouse, I think, every Friday, as well as Jessica Eguizabal, and I apologize, I am horrible sometimes with last names, who is a beautiful spiritual mentor led by heart. And so I'm not going to go on any further because there's so much information. I want you guys to get it. So stay tuned, enjoy, and get your life with this episode. Hello, thank you, Sharon Kershner and Jessica Eguizabal for being on here. I was telling Jessica beforehand, I'm going to botch your last name, so I apologize in advance, but I am so this is oh my God, one of those moments where I just can't wait to have this conversation with you guys. How are you this afternoon?
Oh, yay. Aloha. Thank you for the invitation.
Oh, definitely. When I was talking, when I first learned about human design, I don't even know when I first heard about it, but it was one of those days where I was on Clubhouse surfing, as we all typically, not all, but I typically do. And I'm like, ooh, there's this thing on human design. Let's jump in. And you guys were in there talking, and it was just so amazing. And the only way I can describe human design, because I don't think it's the best way, but when I'm describing it, it feels like this more accurate, cosmic Myers-Briggs tool. But I would love to hear from you guys. What exactly is it? And how did you guys both get into it?
With me, it started basically with my question in 2017, when I started asking myself, who am I? And then I started embarking in my self-realization path. About 3 years ago, I ended up with a conscious community. And the person that I started my first business as an entrepreneur, he introduced me to human design, and I got a reading. And I realized that in order for you to be able to be of service and, in this world, you have to know exactly who you are. So I got introduced about human design. I found out that I was a generator 5-1. And it was just basically knowing who I am and removing of all the conditioning of the stories of who I'm not anymore. So that's how my path started. And then I basically realized that it was a really, really amazing tool. And I started recognizing what worked for me, what didn't work for me, what was actually still something that I could fix. And I started using astrology. I started using human design. I started using different tools. And they're tools basically for me. So the question first was, who am I? And how can I use it to better my life and to make better choices in my life? And just like you, I ended up in Clubhouse, and I met beautiful goddess Sharon. And we were basically just talking. I don't know. We were just talking, and we were in a room. I think it was in Ben's room. And I heard her do a reading for the host in the room. His name was Ben. And I was like, oh my gosh, she's really good. She's very wise. And my calling was, I'm here to be of service to the collective. And I was like, I DM her privately and I told her, you know what? I like what you do. I see you as a master because, you know, she had a lot of experience. She was very humble. I'm going to be very honest. She was like, I don't want you to call me a master, Jessica. I'm like, well, can I please ask you if we can create a room and collaborate and bring the wisdom that you have, so to show what you have and help other people to know who they really are. Because in order for somebody to step into their power and know what gifts they have to give to the world, that will be an amazing tool. And that's how I met Sharon. And that was the
We need to
beginning
know
of
about what this tool is. What, Sharon, can you talk a little bit more about what exactly is human design and why it's important?
So thank you, Jessica. Human design, I call it an awareness tool. And so it's a tool so that you can become aware of how the energies of the world are interacting. And so there's something that goes beyond the physicality of us, and it's an energetic. And so it gives you permission in such big and little ways to be you. And it gives you affirmation. Oh, that's why I'm this way. Oh, wow, that's why this relationship is having this issue. And so it just lands inside of you in that place of giving you permission to be you. And there's nothing more empowering than the knowing of self.
Yeah.
And the understanding of how the unseen energetics of life are the felt yet unseen energetics of life are working in your life. And so that is, for me, what human design gifts us.
And so
it does everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So my question to you is, how similar? So human design is based on, you know, where you were born. Oh, go ahead. What's it based on?
4 modalities.
Okay.
It's a combination of 4 modalities. So it takes out where you were born in the time of your birth, kind of like astrology.
Exactly.
Because it also places you into a circle. But instead of the 12 houses this time, we have what's called the 64 gates, which is based on another modality, on the I Ching. So you have the 64 of gates of the I Ching placed in a circle, one could say, and the time and date and place of your birth puts the cosmos, the planets of the universe, into that in the specific locations of the exact time and place of your birth.
Okay.
And so that is the use of 2 of the modalities, for instance, the I Ching, the gates, and the astrology, the planets. And so we have specific planets in specific gates. For instance, in your case, you have the gate, the gate 47 has the sun is sitting in the gate 47. So that would be much like, what are you astrology wise in your sun?
So I've always been into astrology. It's my face lights up. I'm like, I used to be like, I'm a Virgo, a card carrying like Beyonce, but then that's in tropical. But then what's interesting is I've been getting into sidereal, which I like it more, but I'm a Leo. But I'm like, I don't feel like a Leo, but I'm like, yeah, I'm a Virgo.
Just to let you know that there is someone that has sidereal human design too. And that's one of the places that we have been jumping into. It's like a prairie dog town. There are so many holes that you can jump into and use as these tools. And so, I mean, it's as myriad as the aspects of humanness itself. And so there's so many subtle layers and different places that you can look. And that actually really fits. You can do a sidereal chart for human design too. But the gate that you have in this chart, the Virgo-ness is very evident actually in this chart too. So.
As I always said, I am a card carrying Virgo for the good and the bad. I'm there.
But again, you can do your sidereal chart. I don't remember the exact link. Cosmic Human Design, I think it is, or something like that. But yeah, there's as many different types or branches on the tree of human design at this point as there are on the trees of astrology.
I love that. But like, so let's just go with the big, like, where to freaking start. Cause I think for me, when I first started looking at it, I'm like, I did know, I went to the site, one of the sites to go to, like, do your map. And then I'm like, there's like this outline of a body and all these numbers. And I'm like, this
Here,
looks
guys.
like, this makes no
This is
sense to me. And I'm really kind of confused. And so if you guys aren't watching this on YouTube, if you're listening, I encourage you guys to go to our YouTube channel so you can kind of see what Sharon was showing.
Mhm.
But I also kind of put something example in on the website as well, so you guys can see it if you just want to kind of see what we're talking about. But what I realized, or I think, tell me if I'm wrong, I think, the first thing people always talk about is your type. Can you talk about the 5
Yeah.
different types first and kind of start from like the beginning?
Jessica, you want to pop in on this one, or you want me to just grab it?
Oh, well, I was just gonna remind you, like, since you show the picture, once you
Yeah.
get into, after speaking about the types, you could go into the channel and you could go into everything about the chakras and everything, because there's a lot of things, like she said.
Yeah.
There's
So the
astrology,
other
there's
two
the I Ching.
modalities, yeah.
Mhm.
So there's astrology and I Ching, and then the other two modalities that have been combined into this. And again, because they're all combined, it's very evolutionary. Is the Kabbalah tree of life. And
Okay.
that is kind of, if you look at the structure of this, it kind of looks like the Kabbalah tree of life, if people are aware of it. And then the chakra system. But this is he was downloaded the belief, the person that was downloaded this information, that around the time of the French Revolution, we became 9 chakra beings.
Okay.
And well, it's actually a progression. There, we became 8 chakra beings, and then we became 9 chakra beings. And so, this is essentially the chakra system is what we call the centers in human design.
So
So that's the center.
So it
The
literally
gate.
brings together 4 different types of like modality. I love this.
So if you look at it, the gates are all the little numbers in there. And that's the I Ching. The Kabbalah is the channels.
Okay.
And that each one has a different archetypal aura or archetypal energy. The centers is the chakras. And here we have listed all of the planets and which gate is in the planet. So this is the day of your birth, and this is 88 days before your birth. That is how this configuration is calculated.
Awesome.
And so, and how it appears in the chart determines what of your 5 type, which of the 5 types you are.
Okay.
So if you have this square here, which is called the sacral, or
for the people
force,
who aren't being able to see this, like if you're talking about basically there's like a bunch of different pictures and there's like different levels, and towards the bottom of it there's 2 different squares, and the one above the bottom one is the sacral.
Sacral. And so, and I'm not going to necessarily go into all of the different definitions and places, but if we want to, we can do that in a different time. But this one right here is called the sacral. And if that is defined, then you are what is called in human design a generator.
Okay.
And so, and there you go, Jessica.
Jessica,
I'm a generator 5-1.
And it's beautiful that Jessica's here to speak about the generator, because I am personally not a generator. I am a different type. And so it's always, and let me put this out there first. I recommend that you get as many human design readings as you can from as many different perspectives as you can, because each perspective is going to come from the eyes of that specific human. And truly, the only one that can read your chart is the eyes of you. And so eventually, I mean, and again, I've been in this for almost 8 years, or over 8 years now, and I'm still learning something new in this almost every day.
Love it.
And so you can know only 2 things and you can do it good. And we'll talk about that, or you can go deeper. But just to know that the sacral definition is what makes you a generator. There are people that call, and the generators are 2 types.
Okay.
A manifesting generator and the regular generator. And what determines that type is 201. So we won't go into that right now. But those are the people that are tapped into life force itself. And that's why they are here to generate. They are I personally call them the change agents.
I love
because
that.
they are here to do the change. And they are here to tap into life force and grab out what needs to happen and respond to it and go in. So that's one of the big things about the generator is they are here to respond to life force, respond to divine impulse. And that's 70% of the people in the world.
So the majority of people are generators. So that's, hold up. So you're saying 70% of the people in the world are meant to be change makers. But clearly
we need change.
we definitely need change. But if you look at it, most of those 70% of the people are probably conforming to society and not probably.
And that's called conditioning. There's a name for that actually in human design. It's called conditioning. And the thinking is that when you meet your design and you understand the purity, the energetic purity of who you are on some level, or the energetic uniqueness, let's call it uniqueness of who you are, that's when you can start untangling the should be from the I am.
The shoulds. We had a whole podcast episode on the shoulds.
And so a lot of people call the generators the worker bees.
Okay.
And I think, and that's a beautiful thing. If people understand the whole concept of worker bees is the hive, guys, you know, and there is a tendency, of course, because we're human to, there's 70% of us that dilutes our value, that makes us not as valuable as the types that there are less of, blah, blah, blah. Boom. Bottom line is nothing would happen in the world without generators. Period. Sense. You know, the people that guide them, the people that initiate them are important. Nobody is not important, but nothing would happen in the world without the generator. Period.
That makes me feel better because I remember when I first heard I was generator and it was like 70% of the population. I was like, dang.
Oh, I'm average, I'm one of.
I'm just basic.
And you are really
Sharon
unique.
put it very nicely when she told me, she's like, you're what we need in the world the most. And we do need change, like she said. So in order for people to happen, look at you. You're making this happen and bringing it into the world. What people have not heard about human design.
Yeah, it's true.
Mm-hmm.
So you have
go ahead. Yeah, go.
So you have the two types, the generator and then the manifesting generator. What are the other three types?
And by the way, just to differentiate, and this is again a 201 or 31, the energetics of the types. The generator, the manifesting generator will be heard in an energetic way that the generating generator will not necessarily be heard. So a manifesting generator could be standing there going blue, blue, and the generator could be there, blue, blue, and nobody hears them, and everybody's like, says to the manifesting generator that goes blue, yay, he said blue, and stuff like that. So that's a frustration that you have.
Yeah, I was like, Sharon, you're speaking my freaking life, because that is like literally, I get so frustrated. It's like, when I was in the corporate world, I would give these ideas and I'm like saying these what I think were amazing things and no one is listening to me. The girl next door.
Boom.
Yeah.
It has to do with our throat.
Yeah. The girl next to me says something. Oh my God, that's an amazing idea. I'm like, are you effing serious? And so I've experienced that so much in my life and it pisses me off to the point where I don't speak up in meetings just because I'm you're not going to hear me.
I can give you hacks for that, by the way. So that's in a deeper, juicier place. There is hacks for that. But the bottom line is you can't take it personally now that you know, and this is the permission that I'm speaking of. Now that you know that it's an energetic, this is just how the energy rolls. And so
you can show up differently because I won't.
You can say, look at them, they're not hearing me.
It makes
look at that manifest. And again, there's two, I keep on trying to tell the manifesting generators, it goes two ways too. You are the person in class that might get blamed when everybody's doing it because you are heard more. On the other hand, you're also going to be that person in the same class that just raises their hand like this and gets called on. While someone like yourself with a non-motorized throat is going, pick me, pick me, pick me, and not getting picked.
Yeah.
And so it can be both like everything else, it is a blessing and a curse.
That's one thing I
The
love
heard and
about
not heard.
human design is
Yeah.
that it helps you understand so many things in your life, like just a little that I
Mhm.
do know, which I will begin to tell anyone who's listening. I don't know a lot, which is why I had these
Mhm.
two ladies come on, but it's like you could just learn. And it could be help you pick a job. It could help you with your
Big
parenting,
time.
with love. I mean, there's just so many different aspects
For
of it all.
instance, a generator walks, he can't cold call for a job. They need something to respond to. So it can be like someone telling them they're looking for people in that place. And
Okay.
then you respond to that and you go get it. Or it could be seeing a for higher sign. But you can't just walk into a store and go, "Do you got a job?" without anything to respond to. Whereas the next type, let's go jump into the next type, the manifester, which is 8% of the people in the world, can just walk into anywhere and initiate anything. They actually are not to ask permission or to be given permission for anything. Their permission comes from only inside of themselves and their connection, their divine connection. They are just supposed, it's a really, and this is a tough one, especially think of it if you're parenting a manifestor child and you're not supposed to tell them what to do. So how do you work with that energetic of parenting? And so there's all of these 8% of manifestors, manifesting children, and on some level, the manifesting generators that are like, you can't tell me what to do. And they're just going to be like, that's going to cut the who of them. And so what they need to do is inform. And how you talk with them is you inform. You're not like, you need to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. You're like, school starts at 7, 6 o'clock is 6 o'clock is a good time to wake up. Even saying good time might be telling them that this is the time. So you really have to be clear, like a manifesting mom to a manifesting child. I stayed up late informing. I'm going to sleep late informing. There is a sandwich in the fridge, not your lunch is in the fridge, because that's telling them to eat this for lunch.
Yeah.
There is a sandwich in the fridge, and you don't even say, "Have a good day." You say, "I love you." That is inform, 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 inform. And so that little thing of not giving them permission or not asking for permission is so important. And these are the kids that could disappear into the woods for a whole week and be okay. But they didn't inform the world that they were going there. So there's all these search parties going on. But they're in the woods and the wolves are feeding them and their moth is sleeping them and they're all yay. Just throwing their bombs of life into the world and doing
I
things.
love that.
So they also can start things. They have to not be attached to what they start because they are here to just initiate, to start. They are not necessarily here to become attached, and not everything that they initiate is supposed to be completed. They're just throwing out sparkles of possibilities to the world. And then the generator comes and says, "Ooh, there's a sparkle. That sparkle makes me feel yummy inside. I'm going to respond to it." Or they go and they don't even notice it. And then that's it. It's supposed to fizz out and just disappear. So you can't get attached to the outcome of your initiation. That's you're actually giving it permission on some level then. And you can't necessarily be expected to complete things that you start if you're a manifestor. So yeah.
It was interesting because you brought up a good thing about parenting. Like I know, Jessica, you're a mother, if I'm right.
Yes.
How have you used human design as a parent?
Oh my God, it's an amazing tool, actually. To be so fucking honest and authentic, Sharon is like my daughter, a projector. So
that's another type that we need to talk about.
Yeah.
So yes,
we're going there.
That's
next.
the type we still haven't talked about.
Yes.
So my daughter is a projector like Sharon. I'm a generator and I am always like a busy bee, working. So my aura, I had to learn to get out of the house at least 30 minutes at night when I need her to go to sleep. So she could be in her own aura and she could be able to go to sleep. I also learned to listen to her. You know, one of the things that also helped me to learn to trust her. My daughter is 13 at this moment, but she's so wise that I literally call my kids my teachers.
Wow.
You know, projectors are very, very wise, and they're able to see things that sometimes us are not able to see. And I am going to give credit to my daughter, because I even told Sharon, once I was in a situation with a guy, and the guy ended up having a baby, and then he texted me, and then I told my daughter about it. She said, "Mom, why are you even concerned that this guy even told you about a baby, and he told you he's not with the baby mama? Don't you think that would be you?" That kind of hits you in the face, you know, when your own daughter
Slap
that's
in the face.
13, she's able to see things I wasn't able to see, and I'm 40. And she being 13, you know, projectors are very wise souls. I learned to trust her. I learned to also be straight up to her and give her the space, because she needs more rest time too.
Yeah.
You know, and be okay with her rest time. When she needs to sleep, she's super intuitive. When she had her period, she said, "I'm not moving." And the only thing she did was paint the whole time. So it is a very beautiful tool. And I think that's one of the reasons human design was also created, correct, Sharon?
Yes, the person that it was downloaded into said that it was here for parenting. It was here so that we could parent the future from an understanding of the energetics of parenting. And so, for instance, with the manifestor child, you can't tell them what to do. On the other thing, you have to become like the informing king and queen. They have also like this big piercing energy that can, if you're trying to control life, the outer world, they will repulse you. I love the explanation of the manifestor as this big yacht in a small boat harbor. And if they don't inform, they're just going to plow over people. They're going to knock the world out. The projector is almost is a very different energy. They have this like probing ability, like they're sitting there with like a telescope looking into the world so that they can see it clearly. 21% of the people in the world are projectors.
Okay.
What the difference is, the biggest difference is, so they do not have the sacral energy, so they don't have a plug into life force like the manifestors. The manifestors have that beautiful throat motor, so they are part of the people that are heard. The projector has to get invited to be heard. They have to be valued in order to be heard. Mm-hmm. And that's that same thing as the generator with the non-motorized throat. So if the manifestor is like a yacht, the projector is like a lighthouse.
Okay.
And so the projector a lighthouse can't run up and down the shore going, look at me, invite me, right? A lighthouse has to stand in one place and be solid themselves. So the job of the projector more than anything else is to get to know themselves. The conundrum of that is that they are really good at seeing the other and are not good at all at seeing themselves.
Dang. Okay.
Yep, girl.
And so, but that gives them the incentive to learn about the other and figure out the other and have compassion and empathy on the track to finding out about themselves. It makes them go out and become more investigative about what humanness is in order to solve their own insight. So the lighthouse, so it doesn't see its own light. It projects outward, right? It also, a lighthouse has a beacon that goes on and off. And this is so important for the projector. They have to allow themselves the off times. Mm-hmm. And so some people say the projectors look lazy. Some people say projectors are not here to work. Projectors are here to be on when they're on and off when they're off. And that's it. And so you really, really have to have a life that allows you off time. And off times really is in your own aura, because so much of the other aura is coming into you. You have to be able to, what Jessica described, 20 minutes, you have to release all of your day. You have to release all of that life force energy that sponged into you. And
And another
so,
thing,
yeah.
may I ask you, Sharon, would you like to share
Yeah.
the three different types of projectors there is? Because they're so
Oh,
amazing
there's a lot.
that there's three different types.
Well, there's more than three, actually. There's the emotional projector. And so 50% of the people in the world have what we call emotional definition. We can go into that in a different place. That doesn't mean that 50% of the world doesn't have emotions.
Okay.
It kind of means that 50% of the world is swimming in the swimming pool of emotions, and 50% of the world are watching the pool, kind of thing. And every once in a while, like right now, in this transit that we are going through right now, transit meaning the planets are moving through the chart, we are all emotional beings. So, right now, for instance, the people that aren't usually in the water are in the water. And since they're not necessarily comfortable and water creatures, they might be thrashing around a little more than usual, for instance.
Okay.
It's also when someone with that emotional definition walks into someone without that emotional definition, they actually bring it into them and amplify it. So if someone in you are not emotionally defined, for instance, Danielle, so if someone walks into your aura and they're angry and they're emotionally defined, you are going to like grab that energy and amplify it, and you're going to be even angrier unless you become wise and understand that that's their anger, not yours. And that process of differentiation between my emotions and your emotions is one of the things that understanding if you are emotionally defined or not will help you uncondition. For
Wow.
instance,
I'm like, I
emotionality.
feel like I'm still kind of like, ooh, slightly over the head, but I'm like, okay,
I
I
know,
see
and
more.
I didn't really even answer Jessica's question there. I went into an emotional center. So emotional projector is one of the types that there is.
Okay.
uh just there's emotional projector, there's a splenic projector, there is, and that means that their emotional center is not defined, their spleen is defined. There's an ego manifester, that means that their resource center, their heart center, their ego center is defined and nothing else is. There is a self projected projector, that means that their self center, their G center is defined. And then there's a mental projector, that means that all they have in their chart literally is the mental space, the head and ajna. Those are actually some of the best advisors that you could ever find. What your authority is kind of determines how you will make your decisions.
But what is authority?
And that's where I'm gonna segue
Oh, but
into
before
this,
you go into
even though
authority, we didn't do
the
the
fifth
last.
type,
Yeah.
the fifth type, the beautiful reflector, the one opening the door in my room right now during this whole thing, because he, he needs to be part of, is the reflector in the
Love
house.
it.
I am a 20% living with a 1%, which is a really unique and different configuration. The reflectors are these beautiful mirrors here to reflect communities back to communities.
Oh, I love
They
that.
are the canary in the mine. They are here to sing, sing, sing if everything is good, and literally shut up or die if things are not, on some level, like die inside if something is not good in their community. They do their decision making based on a whole month of sitting with something, because the moon is what kind of creates their consistency. It's
Okay.
funny. So they have like a monthly consistency, and they can figure out the rhythm of the month for themselves. I know, for instance, that the days around a full moon, kinda ish, are days that are harder for Joe, and I back off in big ways. That's the rhythm of him as a reflector. So the authority of a reflector is to sit with big decisions for a whole month, to literally feel into them for that month, and after that month to decide. It's a little hard in this world to do that.
Yeah.
And so reflectors, in actuality, the biggest determinant for a reflector is to feel good where they live.
Okay.
And so let me give reflectors one clue. If you're a reflector and you don't your decision is a little off, make sure that you're living somewhere where you're happy that you're living, whether it's the house you're living in, the town you're living in, the state you're living in, or the country you're living in. And if you can't change where you're living, then try to tweak your perspective. Like Joe didn't change where he was living, but his perspective of the neighborhood changed. And he got more aligned within himself from that.
So we have the generator, the manifesting generator, the manifester, the projector, and the reflector. Those are the 5.
Boom, girlfriend. That's good
types.
memory for someone without a
Yes.
defined
Yes.
ajna.
The 5 different types. And so the next thing it sounds like would be what you were talking about
Authority.
is authority. So what exactly is authority, and how can
And so just with that, let's do this. So the generator responds.
Okay.
The manifester informs. The projector hangs out inside themselves until they get invited to share, or also known as wait for the invitation. I have a little tweakiness with that, but that's deeper.
Okay.
And then the reflector waits for a month to respond. I mean, seriously, kind of hangs in there. They're very unique. They're beautiful unicorns in this world. In Clubhouse, there's a room of only reflectors. It's one of the yummiest things to witness. It really is. Yeah. And so in the authority, so that's determined essentially by if you have the sacral defined or not.
Okay.
The sacral and the throat centers really determine what your type is.
Okay.
And how they're connected. Okay. It's a little deeper than that, but I'm really trying to do the basic.
No, that sounds perfect. But one of my questions is, what can we do to be a better listener or be a better advocate for our authority? Like, so if my authority is to respond, how can I do that better using human design?
Okay, so you're pure, and that's yay! You are literally one of a pure generator in so many levels, because you are tapped into the sacral, but you don't have the solar plexus. Am I doing it in the right direction? The solar plexus. Sorry, I'm not mirroring, right? You didn't do the solar plexus. If you have this defined, meaning this fill, then you are automatically, that is the emotion. Yeah, because this is mirror.
Okay, yeah.
It's normally on the right side of the chart. Okay. But
and so for everyone
listening,
I just want to kind of clarify what she's talking about. She was a picture of my my human design. And if you were looking at this, it's like a beautiful coloring book that's all empty. It's all white. And there's like,
well, yours is.
Mine is. Let me clarify. Mine is. And she's talking about the fact that the other parts of mine, like the bottom part,
just to bring in someone else's chart, for instance, this is another chart with less, with more definition.
And that was one of my issues when I first started doing this, because I was just like, we were in Clubhouse and everyone showed their charts.
Where's all my colors?
Exactly. I was like, what's wrong with me? I don't have any color. I don't have any lines. I'm like,
you are here.
Forgot to color in.
You are here
and
to
girl,
become wise.
She even talked about reflectors are completely empty. Like if you think you're missing,
yeah,
there's also 9 center beings that they have everything, and they're a special kind also. There's so much about human design. We're just at the beginning of it.
Okay.
Where there's as much diversity in human design as there is in humans. It's crazy. So in your chart, for instance, because the solar plexus is undefined and the sacral is defined, your authority is sacral.
Okay.
Okay. And how do you respond? All generators, and whether you have emotional or not, all generators have this yummy, beautiful, like a pendulum inside of them. Okay. Jessica, if you want to explain this in any level, you pop in, please, because you are the generator. So you can explain this on so many levels. It answers in its purity. The body answers yes and no questions.
Okay.
With a sound that has been beaten out of some of us, with the not good manners sounds of
Yeah, my parents are like from the South. That was
there. You go, girlfriend. So please, if you're parenting generators, allow that sound. Encourage that sound. That is the sound of a aligned body. If it's too much of a wound for you, go for yes and no. But please try to encourage your sacral to get that yumminess in there. Like Jessica. Is your name Jessica?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Jessica's like,
Is it daylight in Cali?
Mhm.
Are you hungry?
Uh-uh.
There you go. Do you see how automatic it is? Now, if I ask Jessica, what do you feel like eating?
I don't know.
That's so cool. So it's a great way to really help someone make decisions, it sounds like.
Exactly. That is the way that a sacral definite authority makes decisions.
Okay.
They
And that's
ask
how you saw how I
themselves.
responded.
Yeah. They ask themselves, or they have someone ask them, and this is good for relationships too. Yes and no questions. So if I said, Jessica, do you feel like Mexican right now?
No.
I got
She's
that
in maybe
right away.
Did you see that? But she was in maybe for a minute. That was her hesitation. That's kind of thing. Do you feel like Italian?
No.
You see, it's more instantaneous. She has to go down the list of what do I feel like, what don't I feel like.
Yeah.
Okay. And so it's all yes and no related. And so you can do big healing with this too, because I'm just asking her really quick questions that are really big. But if I float up, are you working on your wounded child?
Yes.
Boom. That you can go into that depth too.
Okay.
Or do you have issues with your daddy? It
No.
can get really personal. And so and this is you answering from the most authentic place inside of you, from the purest place, from where your life force intersects with the world's life force.
Okay. And are there different types of authority? Like you talked about sacral.
Yes.
What are
So
the other
go
types?
back
We just kind of run through those quickly. Like what are the
the
other types?
one most prevalent authority in the world is emotional, and it is the most complicated of all the authorities because 52% of the people in the world, or 50-ish% of the people in the world, have emotional definition, and that takes precedent.
Okay.
Meaning, if you have the emotional definition defined, even if you do that, yes or no, your real decisions have to be made by does it feel good? It's not only a gut response, does it feel good? And feelings, we have learned from human design, live in the now. So if you're being asked to do something in 2 weeks and it feels really good right now and you say yes, and then 2 weeks shows up and it doesn't feel good, your authority is telling you to back out. Your authority is telling you this is not the right timing for this. And so there's a certain need for us to start becoming more reliable to ourselves.
Okay.
And looking less reliable to the world. So someone with an emotional authority should answer in, can I feel into it? Can I give you a maybe? Can I give you a tentative yes? I have to say no, but that might change. I have to say, yeah, I want to say yes. I want to say yes, but that might change. And you have to learn how to not show up, because when you do show up, if you show up and you feel wrong, you're going to show up with messy energy. Let's say with I call it obligation potato salad.
Yeah, this sounds like this would be a hot mess for a people pleaser if they were
yes, exactly. Yeah. Boom, boom. And there's other places in the chart that can really make this really a leading factor in your life. So you really have to answer from that, does it feel good? Okay. And you should not do anything in life that does not feel good. Period. It's a really, really hard one to start following, but if you do, oh my Lord, life just starts clicking and collapsing and just becoming really good. Another authority, I'm just going to go really quick through these because there's not as many people. The next one in the ladder of authorities is the splenic authority. The splenic center is intuition or fear. And so this is like those intuitive hits that you get. And your body knows it because these intuitive hits come in, whisper through your body or come through your body. They're the smell hits, they're the insight hits, they're the knowings, and I don't know how hits. And so a splenic person will come from that type of place. Nelson Mandela was a splenic projector.
Oh.
And so once he got over his fears, he was the powerhouse of ability and highly intuitive, for instance. The next authority would be the ego or the heart or resource authority. That is this little triangle that floats here.
Okay.
And those are the people that they have to check in with their will. Do I want to do this or not, kind of thing. The next authority would be what we call the self-projected authority. And those are people that have to hear themselves. The next two, the mental projected and the self-projected, these are people that have to hear themselves in order to make decisions. And so these are people that really need what we call soundboards that aren't trying to fix them. Just people that they can out to
those,
and
yes.
unknot their inner world with. And so those are the five authorities. The most prevalent is emotional, if it feels good.
Okay.
The next one is the sacral, if the gut says yes. You know,
and I'm the
gut spleen.
Yes person.
Yes, and you are the gut says yes. It's it's yummy, yay. I'm not going to call it easy because we have gotten out of our gut saying yes. We've gone into our head, into what I call the entertainment center.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yes.
and we're trying to make decisions from what is supposed to really entertain us. You know, and so that's like letting the television make our decisions.
And you bring up a good point because, you know, okay, so I know I have my chart and I've gone on a couple different sites and I actually do want to talk about that as well, to kind of understand a little bit more
where we can get this. Yeah.
But like, also it seems so easy. Like now I have my chart, you know, I should be able to live my life this way, but I don't know if it's as easy as it looks. Like, are there any tips that both of you guys have for integrating?
Your uber sensitivity would be one thing for me. So it really is an issue of understanding what energies are yours specifically and what are not.
Yeah.
For you specifically.
Okay.
In the integration. Yeah, Jessica, you're a generator, you go for it.
So Jessica, what are your tips for integrating your human design into your daily life, or from once you started learning about it? Like, how are you integrating it, and what are tips you can give to people to integrate it with ease? I air quote.
Well, the reason I honestly started looking into human design and I really started using the tools is because my anja, which is, you know, located in our third eye, and my crown, which is when you know about the chakras, it's open. So my whole life,
kind of the top of your head, in case anyone doesn't know.
Correct, the top of your head. They're open. So, and my whole life, I used to think I was bipolar. Okay. I thought I had multiple personality disorder, but me finding out about human design, my anja is open and the crown being open, I'm able to pick up on other people's energies, thoughts, and emotions. And I wasn't able to differentiate them. So when I started to know myself, I was able to realize, oh, wait, hold on. This is not my emotion. This is not how I think. I don't feel this way. So that's one of the tools that helped me integration. You are open too. So something is telling me you must be super extra sensitive.
Right.
And you're able to pick up in a lot of people's emotions and things that don't belong to you. So that is one of the ways that you can use human design as a benefit. So you could be like, oh, wait, hold on. I don't feel this way anymore. This is not how I feel. I already dealt with this, you know, especially when you're in your healing, self-evaluation, self-realization path, you get to realize, like even Sharon asked me, are you dealing with inner child wounding? I'm like, yeah, I am. I already know where I am in that scale. And when somebody else comes in my aura and I'm able to read it, I am open in that department and I'm able to see how they feel and be able to perceive their thoughts. I get to be able to know this is not mine, this is mine. And I respect and I send it back to whoever, you know. But
how are you able to do, like, I mean, it sounds awesome. And I'm like, I think I'm sometimes wondering, I'm the Virgo inside of me is like, so exactly how were you, like, I get, you see the chart, you now know these things, and awareness is great. Cause I think once we are aware of things, it kind of gives us the aha moment and triggers.
Mm-hmm.
In your day-to-day life, how were you able to slowly integrate this into how you show up into the world?
Very simple. When I bring people around me, and I just basically had this person that came to meet me, we hanged around, we had like an amazing conversation. And, you know, when this individual left, he gave me a hug. And somehow I felt uneasy.
Mm.
Like when you get to know yourself, I felt uneasy. And I was like, why am I afraid to launch my business? Why am I afraid that I'm not going to make it? And I started questioning myself because I had already sat with and integrated all those things. That's when you're able to know this doesn't belong to me. That's one of the tools. When you have sat with yourself and you have done the work and you feel something that it's not from you,
Mm-hmm.
that's how I'm able to know the difference. And what I actually did, I felt it, I cried it, and I thanked the individual and I gave it back to him so he could deal with it on his own. So
Not my
that's one of the
thing.
tools. Yeah, kind of like, I love
Seriously,
you, but not my problem.
for integration though, if you only learn two things about human design and you only do two things, it will change your entire life. If you only follow what you call the type and the authority. So in the type, respond, inform, wait, or wait for the invitation. Again, that scratches me. We can talk about that for a whole day one day. Inform, or wait the month. So if you do that, if you're a generator and you just start responding to things instead of trying to initiate stuff, for instance, and then if you as a generator really start using your gut and get those yes and no questions and make your decisions solely from that place, you will change your life. If you, as a generator, you just go to your gut and answer that yes or no question. If you're an emotional authority, you really start only doing and only being where it feels good. If you're a splenic, you start working on that intuition muscle. If you just follow those two things of your type and your authority, it will change your life. And I mean, of course, people like us, I mean, most people want to know more about themselves. And those little tiny things of diving into your chart will just start like, oh, wow. Or, ooh, I can do that. Or I'm coming from a lower spectrum there. Maybe I want to, pop into a different space. And so it's all made out of circles. It's not made out of boxes, by the way, too.
No, that's good to know. That's good to know. And so you
Yeah.
talk about, looking at your chart. Where can people get their charts? Because I know there's so many different places. Do you guys
There's so
recommend one
many.
place versus another?
There is one of the people that I have worked with, and she's a beautiful being that really, really is good at, even in her growth, she keeps on going back and tweaking the foundation and the basics.
Okay.
So her name is Karen Curry Parker.
Okay.
Karen with a K. And she has the quantum alignment system is what she calls it, because it's her own evolution. And her charts are under free human design.
Okay.
And her wording is a little different. So, and she puts the Chiron in there. As an astrologer, you know how important that is. And so that's one of the sources I like. Another one is My Human Design. There is Genetic Matrix. There's My Body Graph. If you just Google human design now, or free charts, human design, literally, it's crazy how much is starting to become out there. It's so great to see this yummy expansion. It's been around for 20 something years. It's not like it's new, but it's definitely taking an evolutionary leap with this whole evolutionary leap that we are taking.
And that's part of the reason why I wanted people to know about it. I always talk about how wellness is like a pair of custom jeans. What works for one person may not work for you. And I want people to know that there's different modalities out there the more you know about yourself, the more you can, grow and thrive and not just survive like most of us have been doing.
Well, we use two tools or two modalities. We pulled the card before.
Yeah.
That's a modality of awareness and self-help. And to concentrating and gather the proper energies, and then we went into this tool.
I love it.
So, and doubt everything that you're getting told. Only allow what resonates with you, and if it triggers you, doubt it. And look, to me, a trigger, or something that's scratchy, always means slow down and look inside.
Yeah, I'm learning as I'm on my own wellness journey to listen more to my body. And it's funny, as you say, I have this internal pendulum and this gut reaction or how I respond to things or my authority. It's what I've been listening to more on things. And I've been asking myself questions. I'm like,
Ah,
okay, do you want Mexican? Yes or no? Do you want to go here? Yes or no? Do you want to travel? Yes or no? And so I've been listening to that more. And so it's just all tying into everything else I've been doing. So I really love this. How can people stay connected with? I know you guys both are on Clubhouse and you guys host rooms, but how can people learn more, get readings from you? Like, how can they connect with you? Jessica, do you want to start first?
Yes, definitely. Well, basically getting to know myself, I started in the journey of becoming a spiritual mentor to remind people how powerful they are by design and to step into their own power. If you want to look me up, my name is Unconditional Self Love Goddess, and my
And that's on Instagram and
Instagram,
okay.
and it's also on Twitter and Snapchat. I kind of have kept everything the same. Unconditional Self Love Goddess, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, everything, just to be able to be a simple way for people to get a hold of me.
Great. And you also host other rooms on human design based off of parenting, love. Do you want to, like, am I
Yes,
missing
we
one?
actually, no, you're actually right. We're actually started hosting rooms every Wednesday about relationships,
Okay.
whether it's parents, whether it's kids, whether it's a beloved. And, it's a very interesting tool because people come to us. And what I come to realize that most projectors, I love it because they don't feel seen. And it's so beautiful to see projectors and how wise they are. And most manifestors, they come with a wound that my whole life people have tried to control me. Why? So those are the rooms we hold. And every Friday we open a
Uh-oh.
telephone call.
We lost
It's all
Jessica.
good.
Of course, we lost Jessica. So we're going to just keep going. Sharon, how can we connect with you?
And so I just changed my name in the Zoom thing so that the people that see this can see the spelling that I use for my site. It's Share on Life. And it's
I love the
that's
play on words, and I'll have all this information on the website, so
yeah,
link to you. But Share on Life, I love that.
yeah. And so you can DM me, and I have a very interesting conundrum going on with scheduling right now, but I am very available. Not easily available. I call myself a lighthouse that's off the beaten path a little, so it's
Okay.
a little harder to maybe access me. But please DM me, ask me for a reading, and stay on it. and
Love
and
it.
there's forces in the outside world working on making that easier. So yes, please. And
Sounds good.
again, I go to as many people, get as many human design readings as you can, the free ones and the paid ones, and start when you start learning about human design. Start charting all the people in your life. Start looking at all of these things. It's really weird. Like I'll be like, "Ooh, that person feels like they're a manifester," and then I'm like, "Ooh, I wonder if I can ask them for their birth details." And I'm
Oh,
like,
that I got the birth
ah,
details for my parents and my brother, my niece and
exactly.
nephews. So we were doing it for astrology, but now with this, I'm like, because I have like a note on my iPad. I'm
Hmm.
going to use this for human design to kind of figure out, okay, because I'm curious to see what both my parents are. I'm like, I feel like they're probably generators, but I don't know.
My dad is a mental projector. I know that he just is juiced up from being asked for advice. Hey, Jessica. Hi, beautiful.
Hello, back. Jessica's back.
Zoom is becoming Clubhouse now. You're frozen for a second. And so my father is a mental projector, for instance. They need to give advice. So I go and I ask him for advice all the time, even though I won't necessarily, and it's authentic. I want to do this. I want him to feel good. I'm not necessarily, oh, yay, yummy on the advice. And he probably feels that on some level, but that's the way I interact with my father now in a way that before, it's like, why does he keep on telling me what to do? Why is he giving me advice? It's like, because he's designed that way. My
Awesome.
great grandparents and my grandparents have a similarity to me in their design that made me go, whoa. So yes, and it helped me communicate with my brother. It helps me communicate with my daughter. It is just a really, really yummy tool.
Love it. So I'll make sure to put the links for both of you. And so after every end of every show, I always ask my guests, a couple quick fire questions. Since you both are here, so you guys can just yell out what your answer is. I'm going to start. So the first question is, what does living hella well mean to you?
It means that I love myself.
Love it.
You're mute.
You're on mute.
Unmute yourself. Yes.
Oh, thank you guys. Yeah, it was my daughter's school. That was weird. All schools calling me. It's basically accepting me and loving me as I am.
Love it.
I was like, oh my gosh, I stole Jessica's answer.
Nope, there's no stolen answers. Because this one's going to be an easy one.
Right.
Aisle or window?
A window.
Window.
Love that. What's always in your travel bag?
Tea tree.
Chapstick.
Tea tree. And what's your answer, Jessica?
Chapstick.
Not a bad answer. And then the last question I had is, what is one thing that you do for your self-care?
Go to nature every day.
Yeah.
Sharon first.
Go to nature and sit by myself.
Okay. What was that, Jessica?
I'll go to nature and sit by myself like Sharon does.
Love that.
Yeah. I live barefoot, first of all. That's one of the things I have to do. Shoes bother me. And I spend time with myself. And that's another thing that I was given permission by my design. I have 3 separate places in my design that say, spend time with yourself. And it's a life or death for me, literally. So, yeah.
We did not go fully into all the depth of design, but we would literally just scratch the surface. But I want to thank you guys for helping at least scratch the surface, so people at least kind of have the basics of, you really need to understand and follow, it sounds like, your type and your authority to start making a difference. And it doesn't take much to make a difference using human design. So thank you guys so much for your time. And I will see everyone on the next episode of the Hello Well with Danielle podcast. Ciao.
Ciao, Vania. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Hello Well with Danielle show. Make sure to visit our website, hellowellwithdanielle.com, where you can subscribe to our show on iTunes, Spotify, and Amazon Music and never miss an episode. Also, you can follow us on social media at Hello Well with Danielle on Facebook and Instagram, and Hello Well Danny on Twitter. And if you like hella love the show and got some good nuggets out of it, know that I'm not too proud to ask for you to please leave a rating or review on iTunes so that we can continue to expand our reach and help other women of color. Again, thanks so much for listening, and I hope to see you next week. Ciao.